Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to be going over what are guitar scale modes for beginners. So we're going to break it all down because scales and modes can be kind of confusing. And so today we're going to make sense of those modes. So let's dive into that right now. The big reason why I want to break this down for you is because I want to encourage you and help you feel like you can do this. This is something that gets confusing for a lot of people, but it doesn't have to be that way. I want you to understand that these scales and modes, they don't have to be confusing, they don't have to be hard, and it's something that you can understand and you can start to play and tackle. Now, in another video, I talked about what scales are, where scales come from, and we found the C major scale on the guitar. This lesson will make a lot more sense if you already understand where those scales come from, how to find them on the guitar. And so if you need to, go watch that video now. I'll link to it right here for you. So now I'm just gonna assume that you already know that, and we're just gonna go forward and dive into these modes. What the heck is a mode? A mode is just a scale. That's all it is. It's really all that a mode is it's a scale. Now, really, there's two ways to think about modes. There's how modes relate to the scale, which is what we're talking about today. And then there's also modes and how they relate to chords. That's a whole other discussion. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna take the C major scale and we're gonna find the different modes of that scale. Now, what that means is if you already know your C major scale, we're going to start with what the notes of that scale are, which are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then C, and it repeats after that. Where that is on your guitar is right here as a 3-note per string scale. That means I'm taking the notes of that scale and I'm playing 3 of those notes on each string of the guitar. So on my 6th string, I'm going to start on C, and then D, and then E, and then that's 3 notes. So I'm going to go to the 5th string. I'm going to play F, G, A, and then the next string I'm going to play B, C, D, and then I'm going to go E, F, G, and then A, B, C, D, E, F. So that's only 3 notes on each string, but they're all coming from that C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Where C is our root note. That's our home base for that scale. Now, when you play that, that is your C major scale. So what is a mode? That C major scale has different modes within it, different scales that we can extract from that scale. Here's what I mean. Let's take that C major scale, and what we're going to do is we're going to lay out every note of the scale on just the 6th string. So I'm going to have C here, D right here on my 10th fret, E on the 12th fret, or open. I'm going to do F on my 1st fret, G on the 3rd, A on my 5th fret, B on my 7th fret, and that takes me back up to C. Now, to find a mode of the scale, what we're going to do is we're just going to start somewhere else in the scale. So for example, we started on C, and if I play from C up to C, that gives us the major scale sound. But what if we take the exact same notes in the exact same order, but instead of starting on C, I start on D and I play up to D. So keep in mind here, the relationship between the notes is going to stay the same, right? I'm still playing D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, but check out how different this is going to sound. Now, to do that, I just stayed right there in my C major 3-note per string scale pattern, but I just started on my D note and I played through the same scale. But I started on a D note and I ended on a D note and just came back down to that. Now that gives you a totally different sound, and that's what I mean by this gives us a different mode. Now here's the trick. You can find the 3-note per string version of the scale by doing exactly what we did with C major, where we did C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and we went through all 6 strings and did 3 notes on each string. We can do the exact same thing. We can start on D, and we can play 3 notes per string on that too. Now check this out. We'll have D here, E on the 12th fret, F on the 13th, and then we're going to have G on the 5th string, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now here's the cool thing. That looks like a totally new scale, right? And if we start and end on that D, that gives us a totally different sound. This is what we call the second mode of C major, which we call Dorian. So this is the Dorian scale. And if I'm in the key of C major, then D Dorian is related to that C major. It's a mode of C major. So let's do this with the other notes of the scale. I'm going to start on E now, and we'll do 3 notes per string, same notes. So it's going to be E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and let's see what kind of sound that gives us. So we're on the 6th string, we're going to have E on 12, F on 13, G on 15, then we're going to change strings and do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. That gives you a totally different sound, but here's the trick. It's still the exact same notes from C major. We're just starting on that E note and ending on it. Now that is the 3rd mode. The first mode is going to be your C major scale or C Ionian. The second mode is your Dorian. In this case, it's D Dorian that's relative to the C. And now we have E Phrygian. So this is your Phrygian scale. Really popular with Spanish music and metal. Hey guys, really quick, if you're enjoying this video on what the heck modes are, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so that you'll be notified every week when I upload new lessons. Thanks for subscribing. Now let's get back into these modes. Now let's go on to the next one. Let's do our F. So we're gonna do the same notes of our C major scale, which were C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, but now we're gonna start and end on F. So if I'm doing that just in the same pattern that we did before for C major, what we would do is start on F, which in this case is the 4th step of the scale. So this is the 4th mode of your C major scale. So let's do 3 notes per string on this. We're going to have F on your 1st fret, then have G, and then A, and then on the next string B, C, D, E on the next string, F, and that's the 1st octave of it. Then we're going to keep going and go with G, and then the next string we're going to do A, B, C, next string D, E, F, next string G, A, and then B. See, so that gives us a totally different looking scale pattern, okay? This is what we call the Lydian scale, or the Lydian mode. And in this case, F Lydian is relative to C major. Whenever you have something relative like this, so C major, D Dorian, E Phrygian, F Lydian, and the other scales that we're going to do, that means that they're related because these modes use the exact same notes. So let's keep going. Let's do this with G. So we're going to do 3 notes per string from G, then we'll have A, and then B, and then on the next string C, and then D, and then E, and on the next string we're going to go on to F, and then G, and then A, and then B, and then C, and then D, and then E, and then F, and then G, and then A, and then B, and then C. Now this scale or mode is called the Mixolydian scale, or in this case we're doing G Mixolydian, which is the 5th mode of C major, because we're still using the notes of C major, all our natural notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So let's go on and do the next one. This is A. 3 notes per string with this is going to have A, and then B, and then C, and then on the next string we're going to do D, E, F. Next string we're going to have G, A, B, and then on the next string we're going to do C, and then D, and then E, and on the next string F, G, A, and then on the next string B, C, and then D. Now this one might sound a little bit more familiar to you than the other scales that we've played so far, because this is your natural minor scale. So A minor, starting here on your A note, is related to C major. We're just using the exact same notes, but instead of starting on C and ending on C, we're starting on A and ending on A. Now we've got one more. Now let's start on B and do 3 notes per string. So we got B on the 6th string, and then C, and then D. And on the next string, we've got E, F, and then G. Next string, we've got A, and then B, and then C, and then we've got D, and then E, and then F, and then G, A, B, C, D, E. This is the goofiest sounding one. This is your B Locrian scale, which the chord made from this is a diminished chord. And it's kind of goofy, but it is a mode that we can pull from our major scale. So in this case, our B Locrian is related to your C major. So this is how you get different modes of scales. We're taking the exact same notes of a scale. In this case, our C major scale, where the notes are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and we're just starting from each individual note on the scale. So we started on C, and then our second mode is starting on D, and that gives us the Dorian scale. Our third mode, starting on the 3rd note of the scale, is E, and that gives us our Phrygian scale. The 4th one, F, if we go F to F, we're going to do the Lydian scale. If we go from G to G, we're going to do the Mixolydian scale. If we go from A to A, we're going to do the natural minor scale, or the Aeolian scale. And then if we go from B to B, we're going to have our Locrian scale, which is diminished. But here's the key to all of this. It's all the same scale. So here's the question of the day. When the heck do you use these modes? You can use them whenever. Here's the cool thing. If you've got a song that's in the key of C major, and all the chords that are being played belong to C major and revolve around that C chord, it doesn't matter which one of these scales you use, it's going to sound like C major, because your ear is going to gravitate to that C note because that's what the chords are doing. So if I just have a C major chord like this, I can take my C major scale and play over it. If I take any of these other modes, like G Mixolydian right here, it still gravitates to that C note because that's what the chords are doing. That's the harmonic behind it. So anytime you're in the key of C major, you can use C major, the D Dorian scale, the E Phrygian scale, the F Lydian scale, the G Mixolydian scale, the A minor scale, the B Locrian scale, any one of those 7, and it's still gonna sound like it. So that way you can actually move across the entire fretboard and still have it sound like you're in C major. And that's because all of these different scales are related. They use the same notes. Now here's the cool thing. Once you go through that and you've mapped out all 7 of the different modes of C major, that's going to give you the template for each one of these different modes. So you're going to have your 3-note per string scale for your major, for Dorian, for Phrygian, for Lydian, for Mixolydian, for minor, and for your Locrian scale. So you'll have 7 different scale shapes using 3 notes per string. The next thing that you want to do is you want to play through these parallel modes. So that means playing through using your C major scale shape, placing it on your C note on your 6th string, and playing through your C major scale. And then doing it with Dorian. And then Phrygian. Lydian, and then Mixolydian, and then minor, and then Locrian. So here's the difference between relative and parallel. If I have relative modes, then those modes are related to the same scale. So that's why we have C major, D Dorian, E Phrygian, F Lydian, G Mixolydian, A minor, and B Locrian, because those are the 7 notes of the C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, okay? Now, parallel means that we're taking the exact same root note. In this case, I did C, and I'm playing that root note with the different modes. So the different scales. So I played C major and then C Dorian and then C Phrygian. So those modes are parallel modes. Now there's some really cool stuff that you can do with that, especially with stealing chords from parallel keys. We'll do another video about that. But that is it, guys. I hope that that made understanding what the heck are scale modes and how do they relate. I hope that made that a lot clearer for you. If you have any questions about this still, leave me a question down in the comments. I will get down there and help you out. Now, if you've watched the video this far, I have another gift for you too. It's called the Top 10 Things to Learn on Guitar First. This guide is 10 things I teach beginners all the time to get them playing more musical, real fun stuff on the guitar a lot faster. So go to simpleguitar.com/top10, download that guide for free. It's my gift to you for watching the video today and learning about these scales and modes. Have fun figuring out these scales and modes. What you should do is you should go and map these out. You should write down some fretboard diagrams, just do 6 lines, draw some frets, map out your major, your Dorian, your Phrygian, map out each one of these modes yourself. Writing it down is going to be key for you. Thanks again, guys, for watching the video today and subscribing and commenting and liking and all that fun stuff. I hope that made these modes easier for you. Have fun with them, and I will catch you in the next video.